Provocative and controversial.
We say it like it really is. We say it like it really is.
Committed
With
to
dignity
free
and
speech,
respect.
committed to free speech and entertaining, upbeat and entertaining,
Straight talking and direct.
We may agitate each other back again.
Thought-provoking, heartfelt and passionate.
Hello and welcome to the pitch. Hello. Now here on the programme we're lucky enough to have several. Now here on the programme we're lucky enough to have several of the Britain's finest hard-nosed hacks on the panel who can sniff out a good story in a heartbeat. Who can sniff out a good story in a heartbeat and know how to make it a front page splash. Never go unnoticed. Such talent, which is why Carol never go unnoticed. I have to commend you. Which is why Carol, I have to commend you on your scoop of the century. Not I wanted a latte. That's right. Not a lecture. She was left gasping. That's right. She was left gasping in disbelief after a barista before others used her platform to warn others of this complete coffee snobbery. Telling her tale in the Daily Express and going viral in the process. And going viral in the process. Well, Carol, you might have put a barista out of business, but at least you espresso.
It's stone cold.
That's
And
very
Carol,
true.
for once in your life,
It's stone
don't
cold,
complain.
drink it.
For once in your life,
Don't
complain.
I am going to complain. He deserved
Funny
every
that.
bit of it. And by the way, he didn't
coming
work
up on
in
the
the
programme,
shop.
Anyway, coming up on the programme, Majid presses pause on the TV licence aren't to blame. Andrew argues the press aren't to blame. I'm taking aim at the lack of regulation in football. I'm taking aim at the lack of regulation in football. And June argues we need more diversity in our music. Cappuccino Carol. But first, it's Cappuccino Carol.
Okay, this week's historic shake-up of Britain's immigration system is exactly what millions
It's about
voted for
taking
in the
back
referendum.
control of our borders.
It's about taking back control of our borders, choosing those who come here on merit rather than nationality, and picking skills worldwide.
From January 2021, people who come here
From January 2021, people who come here
speak English,
have to have a
contribute
job.
to the NHS,
They have to speak
and
English,
we can
contribute to the
exclude
NHS,
those with
and
criminal
we can exclude
So yes,
those
it
with
should be
criminal
welcomed.
records. So yes, it should be welcomed.
If British
But
employers
with
are to stop
caution.
dependence on cheap
If
labour,
British
and they
employers are
must,
to stop
the government
dependence on
must
cheap
hold
labour,
them.
and they
The
must, the
800,000
government
young
must hold
people
them.
currently not in work
The
or
800,000 young
education
people
must be helped
currently
into
not
the
in work or
workplace
education
with top-class
must be
training
helped
and
into the
apprentice
workplace
schemes.
with
And
top-class
the government
training and
must
apprentice schemes.
re-establish
And
its
the
contract
government
with the
must
British Labour
re-establish
Force with
its contract
opportunities
with the
and
British Labour
incentives.
Force with opportunities
Britain has a
and
proud
incentives.
history of welcoming people
Britain
from
has a
all
proud
over the
history
world.
of welcoming
Now,
people
as
from
an
all over
independent,
the
self-governing
world.
country,
Now,
we
as an
can
independent,
choose
self-governing
who comes to live
country,
here with
we
an
can
immigration
choose
policy
who
that
comes
works
to
in
live
our
here
interests
with an immigration
and not in
policy
the
that works in our interests
do
and
this
not in the
right,
EU's.
there'll be
And if we do this right, there'll be no stopping us.
Carol, I thought it was quite interesting with the reaction of the Labour Party. They all attacked the proposals, even though this is a reheating of Tony Blair's own points policy. But I think what could come out of this actually is a better workforce, because since 2004, when Tony Blair opened the floodgates to Eastern Europeans, he was told at the time it was a transitional arrangement, so there were limits on how many came in. That was the rule across most of the rest of the European Union. So we can now expect employers to invest in training, and maybe they might even start paying a better salary, which means we can get a better trained workforce, a better paid workforce, and that might mean some of those needs, the 800,000, come off of benefits and go into work.
This was a staggering, shameful figure to me, in the sense that these kids are just languishing. And I think part of the problem is, every ladder has a bottom rung, and to get anywhere in life you have to start on that bottom rung. And I think the problem has been that EU, the cheap labour, which is shameful in itself, they occupy the bottom rung of the ladder countries. That even if a job you don't think is good enough for you, you have to do it anyway. But I think the other point I was making there is that large employers have avoided investing in technology because of cheap labour. Productivity has been bad because of the cheap labour. And I think the British workforce has kind of been forgotten, and we have it's just been cheap, and we haven't. Even if we do, the problems of bringing skills here is that we mustn't forget to invest in the skills of people here in Britain.
that's what I was going to say, actually. I think that there are Tony Blair. His policy, I think, of oversaturating graduations at universities has led to too many people with degrees that are unemployed, while from a practical perspective, while de-emphasising at the same time vocational skills and training. And if we start filling those apprenticeships from people again coming from abroad that may points criteria, which I'd like to show you here. I have a website and it tells us the criteria from the Home Office website. It tells us that the top 3 on this list are compulsory. For a job by approved sponsor, that gives you 20 points. Job at English gives you 10. And then the rest, you see, there are 1 or 2 of them you could have as well that increases your points, but they're optional, compulsory. One of them there says that bottom PhD in STEM subject. And it makes me wonder that we haven't for a long time we haven't actually focused on developing those skills domestically.
But do you guys think this is a good idea? The point system.
Well, I think there are pros and cons to it, and I think actually what's more important is actually that we rather than repeat mistakes that made in the past. Like if you we understand where the cons are. Like if you look to Australia, one of the downsides is they've got this huge detention system, which is a points-based system. They've got these huge detention camps where people sit in, and entire families are in these detention camps. I wouldn't like to see that. I wouldn't like to see that in Britain. So we need to understand where the weaknesses are and prepare for those and plan ahead.
Carol, when I first read you goes again. But actually, I have to say, I was quite surprised by where you then took your subject. In the sense that I'm slightly conflicted. I think. On one hand, measures, I think families like mine probably would not have passed this points-based system, and I think that you and I get on very well.
I'm very glad you're
my dad, my mum and dad.
I'm very glad you're on
and I think that's a shame because actually what this points-based system does is it says that there's only one kind of person that has something to contribute to Britain. And we've heard of countless stories of people who come without an education, without anything, perhaps not even speaking English, that have gone on to do phenomenal things in this country. I do believe, however, one of the big issues we have in this country is what we do with our young people who come from parts of the nation that have been on the negative end of globalization, who haven't been trained and upskilled. And I think you're right in the sense that the government needs to support business to be able to bring those people.
There's a point that Sabri Singh makes, which related to yours, which is why I just want to quickly bring in the Chief Executive of the Joint Council for Welfare of Immigrants, Sabri Singh.
Tens of thousands we've got a system where tens of thousands of children grow up in this country without one of their parents, where tens of thousands of young people who were born here, brought up here, are unable to obtain citizenship. What I'm worried about is creating a two-tier system where those that we're deeming as low-skilled or low-salary or cheap essentially have fewer rights. Essentially have fewer rights.
It is important for us just to make sure. So I think it is important for us just to make sure we avoid some of the trappings of the Australian system, in particular we've heard him speak about detention.
Remember, a skill is regarded as the plaster on your bricky.
And these are 70% of the EU citizens. 70% of the EU citizens that are here at the moment. I think it wouldn't be here. The question is going to be about certain industries. The question is going to be about certain industries that actually pay care industries, minimum wage. Particularly care industries, things like that. How do you get people to take this job? How do you get people to take those jobs?
That's what we're talking about, incentives. That's what we're talking about, incentives. We've got to pay people more. This is the bottom line. We can't use the migrant labour low bar as what we have to pay in the future.
But let's not kid ourselves. If you want to pay more to people in the care industry, it's going to cost. But care in particular, it's going to cost people to live in homes. So we get for old people to live in homes. So we get and most of us.
I'm just asking, what do you think the percentages? I'm just asking, what do you think the percentages of people from the EU who work in our care homes? What would you put? It's not under, but it's just over. It's not under, but it's just over.
It's not as high as people think.
Exactly, it's not as high as people think. And that's, I think, with the transition, we've got 3.5 million people waiting. citizens, they can plug the gap until we transition and work out how to do it.
But we can bring people in we've neglected. A great resource we've neglected. Australia, New Zealand, our Commonwealth partners, and they've got, and most of them have the advantage of speaking English as well, so they're going to get through the language test. And why have we not turned up in Commonwealth since we've been in the EU?
Well, you know why? Because we couldn't let.
Because we had to give priority to the
Because we
EU.
were getting
Because we had to give priority to the EU.
330,000 from the EU.
We discriminated against people who
pick
were in
up on
favour of the EU.
Well, I'd like to pick up on that. One, I think that for a number of reasons. One, I think that that is a bit of a pipe dream in the sense that right now we're sort of glorifying the Commonwealth. I assure you, when we've got tons of immigrants coming in from the Commonwealth, we're going to have the same issues. There you go. There you go. So is Ghana. Whether we've had with our I think the issue when you mention the Commonwealth is I think the issue when you mention the Commonwealth is the countries that most of those countries have thriving economies, and most of those countries have thriving economies, and I doubt very much they're going to be lots of those people to come over and do these jobs. So you're going to find, not for the jobs that we're talking about here. So I think you're going to find that the people from the Commonwealth that are going to be coming to do the jobs that we're talking about are not from Australia, Canada, and that's going to bring another set of problems.
If you look at this policy, the policies of the point system, there's also, people are talking about the cap of 25 grand. The system allows situations where we have shortages, like in nursing. So it means you can come with less of a wage for that, and you can earn more points if you're a nurse. If we're short of nurses, if we're short of plasterers, the system gives you more points if we need them. And that's the whole point, isn't it? It's an immigration system that suits our needs, isn't that?
But it's an immigration system that actually prevents us from perhaps getting the type of innovation that we need, because somebody might not have all of that, and I think something else to offer our country. And I think it's quite sad to close the door on untapped
the usual suspects, they've fallen over themselves to blame the print media for their culpability in the tragic death of Caroline Flack. A woman who, by her own admission, in a press interview, said rather than being elated after winning Strictly Come Dancing in 2014, she was deeply depressed because her love life was in tatters. It was a warning sign even then. Not only did Caroline want to bear all in the media, she was clearly struggling. No longer part of the Strictly family, and I fear the same happened when she was excluded from Love Island. Prior to her death, she'd been arrested and charged with common assault. Of course not. Should the press have ignored that story? Of course not. It's our job to report stories the public are interested in. And can you imagine the outcry if a 40-year-old male celebrity had allegedly beaten up his 27-year-old girlfriend and it hadn't made the papers? Of course the Red Tops love a celebrity scandal, but even the most salacious of them are obliged to operate according to strict guidelines. Sadly, the same isn't true for social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook, which are part of the great unregulated media Wild West. It's why so many celebrities have gone offline.
I'm really surprised that you believe that. I'm really surprised that do you believe that? And I have to ask you, do you actually believe everything you've said?
I do.
So you don't think that the press was overly intrusive in terms of how they reported the blood-soaked bedroom? The image of the blood-soaked bedroom was horrific, and there was no need to print that. And actually, if you look at the way the beginning of the trial was covered when she arrived, again she was hounded, and I do think that she was hounded, and I do think that if you're saying, I do think that by paparazzi, and I do think that
Paparazzi can't give
but they sell to the media. If newspapers weren't buying from them, they wouldn't. And can I finish just to add one last point then? The issue with Caroline Flack is if you're saying that she was very vocal in the press about how vulnerable she was mentally, then surely there is responsibility on the part. You can't control social media, but there is responsibility on the part of editors to take that into account. No one is saying they shouldn't report what happened, but it's the way that it was reported.
Well, I'd say two things there. Why can't we control social media? Why is social media allowed to operate without any restraints or controls whatsoever, because they're not regarded as a publisher, they're regarded as a forum for people to spill bias. They've had plenty of warnings over this. Facebook, Twitter, this has been going on for years. This has been an accident waiting to happen. But some of the things that have been said on social media, she was hounded to death, manslaughter by the press. If you look at the Samaritans' own rulings on how to report suicide, they say, do not oversimplify, do not make it one single issue, because that oversimplifies the complexity of it. Caroline, that was a deeply complicated, hang on Greg, a deeply complicated woman who'd talked on social media about how troubled she was with her demons of depression, and as I say, even at the peak of her popularity, she wins strictly. She gives an interview, you think she'd be on top of the world, she gives an interview to the press saying, I'm depressed because I haven't got a boyfriend.
But isn't the problem here, everybody's blaming everybody else? The police getting the blame, the police getting the blame, the prosecution service is getting the blame, the tabloids are getting the blame, ITV's getting the blame, and social media.
Everybody's blaming other than themselves.
Everybody's blaming somebody else. Oh yes, everybody's blaming somebody else.
Why should the press be blamed for reporting a news story? It's what they exist for.
It's not just how it's how. Going to the other extreme, here's Emma Jones, who's a going to the other extreme. Here's Emma Jones, who's a board member of Hacked Off.
Really framed this story, really framed this story, didn't they? And it'll be interesting. They'll try and sort of spread the blame onto ITV and social media over the next few days and talk about how and try and sort of disseminate any damage that they've done there. But I think what needs to happen is we need proper regulation of the press. We need a recognised independent regulator. Victims of the press deserve justice, and we deserve to have a fair press that doesn't speculate, sensationalise.
I don't agree totally. I think there's all sorts of people.
She used to work in the tabloid.
I think one of the great problems of social media, we have given voice, is we have given voice to some of the most unpleasant people in this society.
They would say just Twitter, Facebook, and these companies, they would say just giving them a perspective here. They would say that they do take posts down. I'm just making that clear because you're not here. But I'd like to pick up on this point. Everyone's blaming others themselves, because actually, I think the truth is that I don't support a law restricting what the press report on, and even more so, I don't support a law that would try and tone police the headlines of the press, because ultimately it will be the politicians who have control over that tone policing, and ultimately that means giving too much power to politicians, and then I'd be comfortable with. But I don't think it's correct to try and sidestep responsibility. I mean, look, ITV were her bosses. There is a responsibility in how they handle the employees that let go of, and there have been people that have worked for Love Island who have taken their own lives in the past as well. So there have been precedents where they needed to have reacted in a way that's sensitive. Of course, the tabloids can make somebody's life a living not legal. There's perhaps a moral, not legal, but a moral duty as to how we approach a story. I don't think the picture of the bed was necessary. Beyond that, of course, the CPS, as you said, Greg, some people are saying, why did they prosecute if her boyfriend withdrew the complaints? And then beyond that, of course, there are a whole bunch of other considerations around perhaps society and whether there's help there needed for vulnerable people who are in the game. I don't think it's a blame game. Rather, what we situation is helpful. I think rather what we should do is, if somebody is vulnerable, let's look at, for example, how we treat mental health and those vulnerabilities in society. Are the resources there to treat people with that? Are the waiting times too long at the NHS when you go with that vulnerability? I mean, I know we introduced parity of speech, but I don't think that the waiting times match physical illnesses. That's where I think we could practically look.
Can I just read the statement from ITV? So this is from Kevin Lygo, the director. So this is from Kevin Lygo, the director of television, and he says, after Caroline stepped down from Love Island, ITV made it clear that the door was left open for her to return, and the Love Island production team remained in regular contact with her and continued to offer support over the last few months. Caroline loved Love Island and was very vocal in her support of the show. Viewers could relate to her and she to them. And that was a big part of the programme's success. We will all miss her very much.
She is the fourth person associated with that programme to take her own life. ITV has a much bigger responsibility to examine. Can I just say one other thing, though, about the clamour that happened in immediate after the death? An actress from Hollyoaks, whose name escapes me, she put out a petition that's got about 600,000 signatures on it saying there's got to be a law to stop reporters.
Can we just look at that? We've got
I can't really believe that she's no longer here, to be honest with you. I can't really believe that she's no longer here, to be honest with you. And it's heartbreaking.
Destroyed.
And she was destroyed by it all. You know, no way to turn. Just she was getting death threats. You know, and everyone she was getting death threats. Like that needs to stop. People online bullying, like that needs to stop. Being kind humans. What's happening to us all being kind humans, helping each other? Why are we all jumping on people? Why? You're struggling and need some help. Why can't we see, you know what, you're clearly struggling and need some help. Let's help you with your mental health. Let's find you a way out. Let's make this better.
What I want to say about that is that, you know, the media in this case was doing a good job. This lady is talking about the mental health problems of Caroline Flack. The CPS and the police were absolutely, totally aware of her mental health problems. Caroline Flack actually told the police she would kill herself if this case went ahead, because she knew the police were wearing body cams when they went into her flat, and she knew if that video went out, her life professionally and personally, she thought it would be over. So basically, I haven't spoken. We've got to distinguish. So basically, you know, we've got to distinguish. You know, these people knew, and yet they went ahead. The CPS went ahead with it because, you know, they are trying to pursue domestic abuse cases and be seen to do that. I am absolutely certain that if Caroline Flack hadn't been a big celebrity, that this would not. No, I want to put something. I want Caroline to talk about this. This is what she said. This is an unpublished Instagram post that her parents, that she didn't publish before she died, but her parents have let the local paper Norfolk use it. She said, I've accepted shame and toxic opinions on my life for over 10 years, and yet told myself it's all part of my job. No complaining. The problem with pushing things under the carpet is they're still there, and one day someone is going to lift that carpet up, and all you're going to feel is shame and embarrassment. I've been having some sort of emotional breakdown for a very long time, but I am not a domestic abuser. We had an argument and an accident happened. An accident. She said the blood that someone sold to a newspaper was my blood, and that was something very sad and very personal. I've lost my job, my home, my ability to speak, and the truth has been taken out of my hands and used against as entertainment. I wish she had published that. I wish she had published that, because I think if she had, I have a feeling the case may have been dropped, because that shows her despair.
Just on the notes of the CPS have explained why they chose to prosecute, even though her boyfriend withdrew his complaint. And they said that we do not decide whether a person is guilty of a criminal offence. That is for the jury, judge or magistrate, but we must make the key decision of whether a case should be put before a court. Every charging decision is based on the same two-stage test in the Code for Crown Prosecutors. Does the evidence provide a realistic prospect of conviction, and is it in the public interest to prosecute? That means asking questions, including how serious the offence is, the harm caused to the victim, the impact on communities, and whether prosecution is a proportionate response. That's just there from the CPS.
She actually blames no one.
Can I just say that it is important, not this specific case, because I genuinely don't think it was an accident, and I tend to believe a dead person saying it was an accident, but there is a general thing about male victims of domestic abuse not being taken seriously, and one suspects that's what the CPS were trying to do.
That's not about mental health. It's not in the public interest to put the mental health problems of someone across the media, which is exactly what.
Well, just a reminder for all of us that if anyone is feeling emotionally distressed or suicidal, they can call the Samaritans for help on 116 123 or email joe@samaritans.org. Downing Street has taken aim at the BBC. Downing Street has taken aim at the BBC, confirming they're considering scrapping the licence fee for a subscription model and forcing the sale of most of its radio. To be clear, the BBC is an iconic British brand. It must not, however, be held up to be infallible and untouchable. The corporation has become analogous to many US tech giants, undeniably bloated, squeezing out local competition, such near-monopoly startup innovation. Such near-monopoly power is unfairly subsidised by a regressive flat tax that outrageously makes it a criminal offence not to pay full licence fee for watching any live programme on any device, even if not a BBC show. The licence fee is simply unfair, unprogressive and unsustainable. It belongs firmly in the top-down world of the last century. Yes, let's ring-fence the BBC's world-class news and current affairs, but it should never be criminal for refusing to pay for entertainment. Resisting change here can only be done by mounting a nostalgic, conservative defence of the status quo. But since when is that progressive?
Well, you know, former Director General. Almost inevitable. Almost inevitable. I was going to discuss. I think the discussion. No, I think the discussion about the licensee is that value. If someone came along today, in the sense that if someone came along today and said, "We go to your house, we're going to have a television in your house, you will have to pay £150 tax, which we can use for programme." It would have no chance. It would have no chance. It would have no chance. However, when you start looking at all the universality, that this is available to everybody. I think that you have that matters. I think that you have a set of services that are available to everybody. I mean, I've seen some of the criticism. Sunday Times. I mean, for instance, the Sunday Times basically saying they've closed down. Basically saying they've closed down local newspapers. No, they've closed down local. It's completely the advertising. What's closed down local newspapers is the advertising model for local newspapers. Actually, all those ads now gone because actually all those ads now go online. So that's what happened to local newspapers. Nothing to do with the BBC. I think. There is a long thought out. Okay, commission policies. What is the best way? Works out. Okay, what are the alternatives? What is the best way of doing the BBC? When Mrs. Thatcher tried to put ads on the BBC, she got a right-wing economist to do a report on it. Who came out and said, and I'd like to see some more thought. And I'd like to see in particular, more thought go into this. In particular, let me add. No, I'm we're not all, because some people are very thinking. What's interesting is this quote from Damien Green. What's interesting is this quote from Damien Green, which says, "Destroying the BBC wasn't in our manifesto." Forget about the cultural vandalism. Forget about the cultural vandalism. It wasn't. But destroying the BBC. No, but destroying the BBC. It requires a
organisation. I think all people talk. There's a hysteria around this. We're not going to lose the BBC. It's just going to be put on the same commercial footing as other companies are.
How do you put local media, BBC local media, onto any sort of commercial footing at all?
Well, if it weren't paid for itself, is there a justification for it existing?
But then that's the discussion.
I just want to talk. Let me finish about the. Let me finish about the. It's a point about profligacy. And it's we read day after day about the scores of executives on 200 and 300 grand a year. They're gold-plated pensions. When they get a payoff, they get 3 years money plus the gold-plated pension. And if they make a mistake, like they did with the digital media platform, which cost 100 million quid, most commercial companies would suffer because of it. The BBC just wipe their face and move on because they know the next year there's a truckload of licence fee for their mistakes.
I don't see why Greg's ideological anyway to object to the fact the state is ordering people to pay a tax to watch a form of media which they may not actually watch. Why should the state be taxing at the commercial disadvantage of those neighbours? And Carol says about the size of the BBC. I remember interviewing Mark Thompson, Director General of the BBC, and said, "How many people does the BBC employ?" And he told me this story, which he didn't have a clue. And he told me this story, which underlines the problems of the BBC. When a BBC hostage who'd been in captivity in the Middle East for a couple of years had been released, he got one call from Sky to fix up an interview. 38 calls to the BBC, different outlets to do the same interview. It is out of control, and it's out of control because it's got a state-guaranteed subsidy.
Well, as the current Director of Creative Diversity, I think what we must not lose sight of is the fact that our BBC is the envy of the world. When you speak to broadcasters around the world, they are completely envious that we have an institution like this. It is the engine also it is the engine of our creative industry. If you look at the relationship with the independent sector in terms of independent production companies, the BBC is the biggest buyer. So actually, if the BBC goes and I don't think people make that, and I don't think people make that correlation.
Got a bit of information.
Please.
There's been a 50% increase in the number of European productions made by Netflix.
Still doesn't compare to what we buy.
They are catching up.
We call it a state. Let's talk about this. We call it a state. It's a state, but it's it's a state. They might not, but everyone knows.
The BBC doesn't call it a state.
They might not, but everyone knows.
State broadcasting is managed by the government of the day.
Okay, so it's supposed to be, it's a state broadcast in the sense that we don't pay tax to watch it. However, I don't want to pay tax to watch something like that anymore. Is broadly representative of the state anymore. I just want to say that, you know, I just want to say that, you know, the BBC has been roundly criticised recently over the fact of its left-wing bias, also its bias recently towards Brexit. I don't want to watch a TV station that tells me something that puts a slant on news that I don't agree with.
But you're not the best judge, are you?
Of course I'm the best judge.
Particular perspective.
It's supposed to be unbiased.
So your judgment about bias isn't
the BBC didn't actually put out Boris Johnson's speech on Brexit. Whether you agree with Brexit or not, it was a historic day.
But the left side playing in the same way. Both sides of things. But can I just say one thing? I just want to pick up one quick point. So you said that you do not want to pay for entertainment that you don't consume, or be criminalised for entertainment you don't consume. You wouldn't be. If you're not consuming entertainment, you're not consuming live TV, then you do not have to pay for the...
How many people now...
Hold on, I need to clarify this. If you're consuming
That's
any
my
live
point.
TV on
That's
any
what I
device,
said.
even if
That's
it's not
my
a BBC
point.
program,
That's what I said. If you're not
still have-
consuming live TV on any device, then you won't need to pay
I
for
can see
it then.
watching live Sky, that's not the BBC, but I'm still paying for the BBC. But that's not fair.
No, but the license fee is to allow you to be
I'm
able
watching
to
a
see
live
television
broadcast from
too.
America.
So
I
that's
can
what
watch
it
live
is.
broadcast from America.
Okay, but
I'm
there's no
paying the
point.
British government tax for that.
But you can't watch live
Yeah,
broadcast
on my phone I can be watching live CNN. Why am I paying the BBC live?
CNN. I'm
It's
talking
any
about
live
national.
broadcast.
I don't know about CNN.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
talking
any
about
live
national.
broadcast, any live broadcast on any device.
Yeah, of course.
Even if it's not a
But that's
BBC
always been the
program.
case. Yeah, of course.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's always been the case.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying is unfair.
Why is the BBC doing so much? It's just doing too much. It's too ambitious. It's too big. It's too much. Exactly. It's out of control.
So I have a question for the panel. If on a point of principle, I said I'm going to watch live CNN on my iPhone and I refuse to pay the BBC, and got a criminal offence for it, would you sympathise with me? Why?
Can I give you the statement from Can I give you the statement from Sir David Clementi, the chairman of the BBC? He said the BBC is a great national asset. A diminished BBC is a weakened Sitting behind a paywall, he's right. Sitting behind a paywall, it would no longer be the place that brings the country together for the Strictly Final, or Gavin and Stacey on Christmas Day, or the Armistice anniversary, or Holocaust Memorial. Let me finish. Nor would it be the place that all could turn to celebrate live important moments we enjoy as a nation, royal wedding, or jubilees, or the Olympic successes. He's right.
Well, I think the irony of the whole thing, of course, is that the biggest supporters of the BBC are actually the South of England middle class, and I suspect if the Conservative Party, or the Conservative Party, or a bit of the Conservative Party tries to push this thing through, they will have opposition.
They're not trying to wreck the BBC.
What about what Gary Lineker says? He says, I would make the licence fee voluntary. I don't know the logistics of how it would work. You would lose some people, but at the same time, you'd up the price a bit. You're forced to pay it if you want a TV, and therefore it's a tax. What about he says about that?
Well, if it's voluntary, people won't pay.
Well, exactly what?
1.8 million a year, and it's not even exclusive. 1.8 million a year, and it's not even exclusive. And in Germany, they've got a broadcasting levy, and it's compulsory on every household.
Sky News. Okay, you're watching the page on Sky News. After the break, to stop. Why we need radical action to stop football clubs making the rules.
Assalamualaikum.
The Manchester City scandal. The Manchester City scandal has seen the club banned from the Champions League for 2 years. Is arguably the truth is English and European football is middle to some clubs breaking the financial rules to some extent. In England, at least 3 championship sides are being investigated for financial misdemeanours, and in recent years, many Premier League clubs have broken the rules to attract young players. The problem is, there's no effective regulator in English football. The FA isn't. It needs the big clubs to support both the England team and the FA Cup if it is to thrive financially. So how can it also regulate them? Both the Premier League and the Football League are supposed to apply a fit and proper person test to those buying football clubs, yet both are remarkably ineffective at doing so. The Premier League is basically 20 separate businesses coming together to sell their exclusive television rights. That's a cartel by any other name, and England.
Hang on, you've been Director General of the BBC, Chairman of the FA.
Yeah.
What else have you got under your sleeve?
I've done a lot of jobs. It didn't last very long at any of them.
Right, let me explain for our viewers what regulation in football currently exists, just so we know we're all level playing. Give me a second, Carol. So, UEFA has what they call financial fair play. It was introduced by UEFA in 2009 to address clubs making huge losses and spending beyond their means. Losses are limited to a level set by UEFA. Then in the Premier League, they have a number of financial rules in place, including comes in to buy a club. How does an individual club, like an individual millionaire, compete against a state that has petrodollars and can keep buying the best players?
Well, that was the aim.
Is that fair?
That was the aim of financial fair play in the first place. It was introduced to say, hang on. Abramovich has bought Chelsea, poured money into it, which actually damages competition.
And there are also question marks over whether no, there's question marks about a lot of money.
Can we make it simple in this context? I mean, it's lost me in the first part.
I thought you weren't going to join in.
Because I want to know what Man City actually did wrong.
What they're saying Etihad, the airline, is sponsoring the club with a chunk of money, very large chunk of money, because later they would argue, they later demonstrated that the money didn't come from Etihad, it actually came from the government. The government of government.
So if they've been draconian set of rules, and if so, why so?
Well, the Premier League are doing their own.
But well, are they going to be thrown out? Why not?
Well, that's going on at the moment.
But what is it? I haven't read that the Premier League are looking.
Yeah, no, the Premier League are doing their own investigation based upon this. All came out, and this is the problem. This all came out in Journalist and Der Spiegel. And if nobody gave it out, none of it.
Read their statement. So this is what the club had to say. Manchester City is disappointed that Luxembourg in December 2018, the UEFA chief investigator publicly previewed the outcome of the sanction he intended to be delivered to Manchester City before any investigation had even begun. The subsequent flawed and consistently leaked UEFA process he oversaw has meant that there was little doubt and result that he would deliver. Simply put, this is a case initiated by UEFA, prosecuted by UEFA, and judged.
That's a fair. That's what I'm saying. We need. That's what I would have. I mean, the FA is supposed to judge it in England. Right? I don't think the FA has the capability to do that. But secondly, the FA needs the big clubs to supply players for the England team and for them to play in the FA. I don't think they're equipped to actually do a proper investigation.
So would you be saying this if if you were still chairman of the FA? Did you say similar things when you were chairman? Or is it easier to say it now you're no longer there?
Well, no, I didn't say something if I was chairman. I wasn't particularly like to.
That's why you're a bit like your time to the BBC.
No, I was like to the BBC.
It contributed apparently 3.3 billion to the Treasury in 2016-17. If it's doing that, what does it matter where the money's coming from?
Yeah, it does.
Is it corruption that it's coming from?
They have decided on a such a... You could have said, no, we're not going to have financial fair play at all. Anyone can put any sort of money into any sort of club and spend fortunes. The clubs chose that wasn't the case. It's not what they wanted to do. And therefore they...